Hi everybody. I'm sure a lot of you heard about this sinkhole that opened up in Waterloo, Illinois. I guess it opened up in the middle of a golf course and that swallowed a golfer. He fell into the hole and he ended up getting rescued. So this one got out okay. Just dislocated an arm, thankfully. But when I heard about this story and I read over the article, it drew my attention to certain things. So I just want to open this up for speculation. Okay, so here we have a Google map of where Waterloo, Illinois is. You can see the marker, the A there. And it's right next to St. Louis, Missouri, which is why they had an expert from St. Louis talking about the sinkholes and kind of trying to describe what's causing it. But and I'm not saying I'm right about what I'm thinking here, but I just kind of wanted to go over a couple things. So here we have a map kind of outlining the area of damage along the New Madrid Fault. Um, you know, and you can kind of see this area is right in that danger zone, and that danger zone kind of extends through Ohio and kind of down a little bit down towards the down towards this area here. So I guess the question for me that pops into my head is, is this something to do with the New Madrid Fault? Because we know it runs kind of through this area, and then over in Indiana, I remember earlier this year, because I have a friend who lives in Indiana, um, talking about buildings blowing up there because they were filling up with methane, and we know that methane is under the ground, and you know, just like what's going on in Louisiana, that's kind of what we're seeing bubbling up there is the methane. So I guess my question would have to be: is this fault line becoming more active? I mean, I think it is, but that's just what I think. We don't have any real concrete data on that, but all we really have is observation because they're not really telling us much. But it stands to reason because we got this sinkhole down here in Louisiana, and and we got of course the sinkholes in Florida opening up, but then another sinkhole up here. So it kind of concerns me. Okay, so then here on this depiction, we can kind of see where the New Madrid runs through here, which is kind of like right in that area. So I don't know, is the ground softening up there? Are we ready to see a big earthquake come in this region again? Because I know we're overdue for it. That would explain the methane over in these areas too. Okay, then here we have Jack Reed's theory. Um, you can see Jack Reed's theory. I don't know who Jack Reed is, to be honest with you, but this picture kind of, I don't know, it jumps out at me when I see it because it kind of describes what we're seeing here, doesn't it? As we know, we got this fault line that runs through here, and I don't know if there's a new part coming down this direction, but that would follow because I think he's theorizing something about BP because that seems to be about where that well was. And maybe that's the case. Maybe just all that oil spewing out is undermining this, which is the LA sinkhole, which the more that gets undermined, the more this is getting undermined. I mean, it's just a theory, just a thought, throw it out there, but if that is the case, then there's the danger zone isn't just down here and then through here. We're talking about like a big section, possibly all the way through. If we have a major plate displacement, and United Knowledge uh, has already shown a lot of information on this that we're definitely seeing a diagonal pull. But you know, it's just speculation at this point, guys. And here we are back to this map again. So from the information we're getting, okay, we have a giant sinkhole right here. We have a small one in Tampa area, and I'm not sure where the other ones were. I think there was a couple in here. And now we got sinkholes appearing up here in Illinois. So is this a possibility? You know, do we have a fault line running all the way this direction? And if we do, and we're seeing continental, you know, this plate moving, having some friction on it, then we there's a possibility. This map, you know, it's been presented, it's been out there for a couple of years. I've seen it more than once or twice, and they got to be basing it on something. So, you know, what we do know is we got a sinkhole over in this area. Yeah, more like in this area near St. Louis. So we got sinkholes right there. You know, I know over in this area somewhere we've had methane leaks that blew up that building last year, and I believe there was more up in this area, but I can't remember specifically, so I don't. You know, I'm not positive of that, but um, we do that for sure. We know we had an event over here, we're having an event here, and we're having an event here. You know, and it may be linked to that BP thing. I don't know, but you know, this is the case of that. You know, this is what it kind of looks like to me at this point. And I mean, if this thing goes off, I feel like it's going to open something up here. I could be wrong, but if it does, then you know the danger zone isn't just down here or just in this area. It could run all the way through in Illinois. It could, you know, pose a threat to Missouri, Indiana for sure. You can see a lot of that's underwater. You know, if this map is true at all. But I would think that this part of it here is a possibility at this point. So I would just be careful. If you guys live in this area, keep your eyes open, you know. And you're probably experiencing more methane buildup on the surface all on this line. Is like I said, we've had reports of methane stuff happening in Indiana, and now this thing is happening in Illinois. So I would just keep an eye on it. Just keep an open mind to that possibility, because you know when that ground opens up beneath your feet and this happens, there's not going to be any time for "I told you so." Yeah, so it's a crazy story. Another thing I'd point out, you know, you don't see anything about it on Fox News or anywhere else. They're way too more interested in pocket knives, you know, on airplanes, and you know, spending big on overweight lesbian studies, because that's important. You know, just junk. No kind of real news in here at all on things that are important. You know, they got all that power and they can warn people about this stuff, but they're not doing it. Well, have a good day, and you know, leave your comments below. You know, I'm not saying any of this is a fact or anything. I just, you know, as far as my theories on this, but all this activity just does make one wonder. At least this one, it makes this one wonder. Uh, is this what we're looking at? I don't know.